This is a short video on flipped learning and how I use it in my teaching. So the problem that I think a lot of us face is that students learn at different paces. And that can make classes quite difficult when you have some important theory to get through, or an important concept, or a skill. And you have some students who, for whatever reason, are just not getting it at that particular time and need more time to work on it. You also have those students who, even though they're present in class, miss the important information. It might be that they're not paying attention, or it just goes over their head, or for some reason just that one bit of important information just skips them by. There's also that perennial problem of students who are often absent and miss important work each time they're away. And when it comes to homework, there are those students who don't complete homework well, and of course those that don't complete homework at all. For us as teachers, often we find that we're spending too much time out in the front of the classroom doing chalk and talk, or we're spending too little time supporting students as they practice the skills and the concepts that we're trying to get through to them. And as teachers, we often spend far too much time re-explaining to students the concepts or the skills or the theory because they just didn't get it the first time or even the second time. So flipped learning is a way of teaching that flips the traditional classroom model, where instruction is given in class and homework or practice is obviously done at home. In flipped learning, we flip that model, and instruction is now given at home, often in the form of short videos and questions and reading activities, and the homework or the practice is now done in class, where you have a teacher present to help the students with that work. In the old model, we had the role of the teacher as the sage on the stage. In the flipped classroom, we're trying to move that teacher away from that role and make them more the guide on the side. So flipped learning is a model that takes the responsibility for learning and flips it from the teacher to the student. It also takes the face-to-face time and flips it from teacher-focused to student-focused. And class time is flipped from lower order to higher order thinking skills. So what does flipping provide for my class? Well, for a start, it allows me to provide differentiation, a strategy that we all find, I think, very, very difficult. It allows me to work one-on-one with students because I now have far much more time in class to be wandering around and working with students, either on their own, individually, or in small groups. It also allows my students to work far more at their own pace. They can replay the lessons that they have at home. They can pause them, rewind them, play them more slowly, more quickly, go over them as many times as they need. It allows me as a teacher to create a class environment that is dynamic, it's engaging, it's interactive, and far more beneficial for students than a traditional classroom with the teacher is out the front, often sitting down, where the students are often very disengaged from what's going on. And in terms of review and remediation, it allows students to revisit concepts as often as they wish, and if they are absent, to catch up on missed work very easily. Now, there are both pros and cons to flipped learning. So the pros are that students are able to learn at their own pace. They're able to pause, rewind and rewatch lessons as often or as little as they need. Students can access content for their classes anytime, anywhere, on any device, and that's really important in today's world. Students can be doing their work at 2 or 3 in the morning, and we find that happening when we look at our Moodle logs. It also means there's less problem with absences. Students who aren't there haven't missed that important bit of theory that you've presented. They can catch up on that when they need to, even if they're away ill or away on holidays. Technically or theoretically they can access those lessons at the same time as the class. And it certainly, for students, gives them better opportunities for revision, where they can go through that lesson you gave time and time again. In my class, I link the video each time to a Moodle quiz so that students can test their understanding and get instant feedback. And for me as a teacher, I get more time to help students in class and explain those difficult concepts to those students who are struggling. And I'm spending far less time out the front giving a chalk and talk and far more time working one-on-one with my class. Now there are cons, as there are all the time. I won't try and fool you. Setting up flipped learning classrooms is a lot of work. I will tell you it gets easier as time goes by, but to begin with it's a very daunting task, but well worth the effort. It's also a big shift in how your classroom runs, and for a lot of us it's quite a big wrench to give up the power and authority we have at the front of the classroom and to allow students to take responsibility for their own learning. We often talk about it, we often say it's a good thing, but it's much harder to do in reality. And I will admit some students are resistant to the idea. It's not how they're used to learning, but with time I've certainly found in my classroom that the majority of students, if not all the students, eventually are able to come on board with the idea of flipped learning. There's also, with some students, the problem of not having technology at home, but the videos that we use in flipped learning are short, and there's no reason why they can't be doing that in homework help time, or at lunch times, or in study periods if they're in VCE. So how does it work? Well, at home, students watch a 5 to 10 minute video that I've prepared. The rule of thumb is that it's approximately 1 minute for every year level they're at. So year 7s would watch a 7-minute video. Year 11 and 12 would be looking at somewhere around perhaps 11-12 minutes at the most. While they watch the video, they take notes and they record any questions that they might have. And in my case, they then sit a quick, short Moodle quiz just to check their understanding, and that provides them with instant feedback. If they find from the quiz that they haven't done well, then they can go back, re-watch the video again, and then resit the quiz as many times as they wish. In class, students are given an opportunity to ask the questions that they've recorded. They then spend the majority of their teaching time working on problems or tasks that are set. While that's happening, I go around and check that they've taken notes from the video or done the quiz in Moodle. And if a student has a problem and they haven't watched the video, then I refuse to give them any help whatsoever until they've watched the video in class, taken the notes and completed the quiz. It's important to keep in mind too that flipped learning is not necessarily for every subject or every lesson. It depends very much on you as a teacher and your students and what topic you're doing. It is just one tool in our toolbox, but it is a very powerful tool and one that I'd really encourage you to have a go at. Keep in mind too that flipped learning is about increasing one-on-one time with your students. So make sure that when you get that extra time that you've planned for it, that you don't just let it happen, but you've got strategies in place to make good use of that extra time that you've now got in class. And it's really important that you avoid the temptation of using that extra time you get to cram in more content. It really should be about covering more depth in each of the aspects of the course rather than just trying to cram more in. I like the quote from Rushton Hurley: "You can be a good teacher and never use technology, and technology won't turn a bad teacher into a good one. However, a good teacher who uses technology well can make great things happen." And I'd encourage you, as good teachers, to use the technology we have to make great things happen here at Yarra Hills Secondary College.